so I can show you some of these advanced text-based comps and how you can troubleshoot in your command line. I'm not going to talk too long today because I want you guys to A, have some work time, and B, I'm sure you're kind of sick of hearing from me. Anyways, we talked about the highlight of your weekend. I hope you had a good weekend. I had a very good one. Mostly at prom, mostly getting my house cleaned, mostly getting my life back on track, basically. You know how it happens sometimes. But I hope you had a good weekend as well. So our theme for the week is to complete and deploy assignment number 5. You'll continue practicing adding these React compositions, or sorry, not compositions, components, and troubleshooting them when they break. And then as they break, you get more practice because they have more pieces that give you additional functionality. If you look on that React components page, which I have linked in resources, number 2 today, you see how much extra stuff goes into the more functional pieces like the confetti button, etc. Our job for today is to just start adding text to our page TSX in the assignment number 5 folder. Anytime you see writing like this in any of my resources, this is usually the folder names until they get down to a type of file. So if you are not seeing a dot extension like TSX, HTML, CSS, JS, all of our typical file extensions that you're used to seeing, and you see these, this means that these are folders, kind of like stepping stones down to where we're working, okay? Your outcome from today is adding some additional details about why you think your villain did not do anything wrong, your fictional villain in their universe. Again, this is your chance to defend them. Another big part of today is troubleshooting when you add additional packets or resources to the May folder. When I was practicing this morning, I needed some additional icons, so I'll show you how to add those. And CLI stands for Command Line Interface. That's when you're typing in the npm run dev type codes. The more practice you get in there, the less scary it gets, right? We'll talk about assignment 6. It'll be really, really small. We'll be able to finish it by on Thursday. It's a one-day thing, very open-ended. But the other assignment we'll need to complete by Wednesday is assignment number 5. I know you're getting it today. You can start your server, npm run dev, right at the beginning of class, just so it's already going, already ready. Same way every time, so it should begin to stick, right? I'm also going to show you how to use the error / quote spell check feature in VS Code. You'll find that when you add a React component, it's going to throw up a bunch of errors because it doesn't know what you're asking. I'm going to show you how to kind of spell check basically so you can figure out what you're asking or what it's asking. And you know you're applying what we have learned so far because your React components have few, if any, errors. Mine still have errors, but as long as they load, it's okay. You can use the terminal, that's that CLI, to add more to your resource folder. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. And your text displays in interesting / more than basic ways. We're doing this because I want you to have comfort using the terminal as well as comfort working backwards. Oops, I wrote it twice. Generally like reverse engineering. Okay, you know how some parts work, you don't know how other parts work. How can you work backwards and get the additional pieces necessary or plug in the additional components or the additional parts necessary in order to get it functional? Okay, that's enough PowerPoint. We will worry about the exit task here shortly. I'm going to open up your period 4 folder real quick, which for you is in documents. P4 May Blakeney. Okay, I will save all those because I'll come back to those for 5th period. All right, first things first, because I had a command terminal open recently, it should stay open. If yours is not open, you can go terminal, new terminal, and then make sure you change the startup option, or sorry, the, what's it called? I forgot its name. It's launch profile to command. This is where we type our npm run dev. And we look for our purple triangle and our 2 green check marks. Mine takes a while. Mine's ready in 1200 milliseconds. Yours is probably a little bit faster. And then I can go to my local host, I can follow the link, and I can split my screen like normal. Okay, so we have our Magneto images from last week where I showed you the idea of creating these components. You can find these components. Let me make my screen a little bit easier to see here. We built these components in our app folder. And they're called components because they have the minty green title with the capital letter, and they have very specific props, or short for properties, that make them work. This is the base building block of React, okay? And it's the reason why the things like the confetti button function because they are specific components with either more components within them or especially more props within each of those components. It all stacks up, kind of like a pyramid, right? Basic wide stuff on the bottom. As you get further and further up, it gets more and more specific, okay? So if we look at page number A5 at the top, this is what we did by going to site.ts and adding a new label and href. All of this is a recap from last week, which you can find in last week's videos in case you weren't here or you need a reminder. But I'm going quick because I just want to start adding text and give you the chance to work on this a little bit. So if we go to our A5 page.tsx, remember every folder that's not the main folder is inside of a subfolder. I want to take my images from the main page and put them onto my specific page, right? We're going to go from general to specific anytime we do web design type stuff, okay? So I'm going to go to my app page.tsx because I can tell it just says app right here instead of ... slash. ... slash just means it is in a folder of some kind, all right? So I'm going to take all of my images, Control X will cut them. It's the same as copying then deleting. It just skips a step for you. Control S to save. And then I'm going to go over to my A5, delete my placeholder paragraph. We don't need that anymore because we're going to add our images with Control S. Okay, something has gone wrong. You can see that red underline, right? Kind of like in a Word doc or in a Google doc when you've misspelled a word or if there's some type of grammar issue that the computer's looking for. There's a similar feature in VS Code that can help you fix this. Let me show you how it works. It doesn't always work, but it works sometimes. It's not as reliable as spell check, but it does help you get started with that reverse engineering, okay? If I hover over image, it's gonna give me a whole bunch of yap that I don't quite understand. And I have two options down here at the bottom. I have view problem or I have quick fix, okay? Right at the top is gonna be the most important error that the computer is identifying, right? Kind of like if you go to the doctor and you have a couple of things that you're there for, you want to start with the most important one first, right? The same way when you write an essay, you start with your strongest evidence first. So this is telling me that the JSX element, that's JavaScript, does not support attributes because it does not have a props property. And then it's telling me a bunch of image cannot be used as JSX, blah, 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 blah. It's because we haven't told the computer to import this yet. It doesn't know what to do with this because we're missing our import that we put on our app page, okay? There's our import image from Hero UI. We need this on any page that contains those specific comps. So I'm gonna Control X again, put this in the top, Control V, Control S, and now my page is happy once again. Once I refresh, my fictional villains have reappeared, okay? Hi, welcome in. This is taking the work we've already done and putting it somewhere else to adapt to our needs. Remember, that's called source coding, okay? You can copy yourself, just like you can copy a couple other developers, or not a couple other. You can copy other developers from the internet so long as you're not outright stealing their code and calling it yours, right? Very much like in language courses, when you use a source, you should do some type of crediting or you should make it your own so that you're not accidentally doing plagiarism, okay? Anyways, what's the new things that we can do? What are the new things that I'm asking you to do via, let me close this other one real quick. Hold on, let me get my page set up right. There we go. What are the new things I'm asking you to do today? I'm asking you to start adding some text to actually defend your fictional villain, okay? This means, very basically, you can have your images with reasoning explaining why you think, in your opinion, that your villain was misunderstood, was acting in their best interests, right? Good intentions but bad methods. All things that are making a case or a kind of like making a claim that your villain technically could be considered that they didn't do anything wrong. You do that by writing the same type of HTML that we're used to, except now it's in the return function and it's going to behave a little differently because it's inside of this React component. So if I add a paragraph like basic, p enter, that's going to give me the start and end tags, and we can start describing why Magneto is a misunderstood antagonist. Okay? And then that's going to appear in the stack order like we're used to once we control S to save. We know how to do paragraphs. You know, we've used a ton of different paragraph examples throughout the course. If you look at Canvas and we go to our homepage for today, I'm going to finish up here shortly. Go to web design, look at our student page. There is this React component shortcut here, right here in resources. This will give you, this is a site we visited before, but I want to show you how to start actually using it now that we've got a little bit more experience with React. Okay. Basic paragraphs are great, but they're basic. They're not super visually interesting for our user, and we want to have our user paying attention to our page, right? So let's find something that's a little bit more flashy, a little bit more interesting, maybe in the data display, maybe date and time. Let me look for something here. Okay. Let's do text area. Okay. So text area, because we want to add ways for our users to interact with our sites, React has that ability because it has all these different props that you can customize how your user reacts with your site. Okay. Let's say I wanted to use this text area component on my defending of the fictional villain. Maybe I want to ask my users why they think Magneto was misunderstood or was acting within context that makes sense. I can use this comp of text area by clicking on the expand code button right here and just focusing on the part that's inside of the return. Okay? Because remember, all of this, we have our export function already. If we start stacking export functions, our computer's going to be confused about which thing to actually export. So we're just going to take the component part, which is this right here. You can tell because it has our HTML shift comma and then a slash shift period because it's containing everything all in one box. I'm going to Control C to copy this, or you can right click to copy. And I'm going to put that into my, for me, it's line number 12, but for you, it could be a different line wherever your images end up. I'm going to put a little text area under here with Control V. Okay. Now, there's that red underline again, because my computer is not quite sure what I'm fully asking of it. If I Control S to save, something's going to go wrong, and our output is going to break. We need to, the same way that we told the computer to get the image comp, because it's React, we need to tell the computer to get the text area prompt, or comp. So if I highlight over this, there's unfortunately no quick fix. Sometimes there is a quick fix available, and you just click it 2 times, and it fixes it for you. Because we need to import our text area component, the same way we imported our image, we can type out the same type of command up at the top here. So we can go import braces text area, spelled exactly the same way. And we're going to go from quotation marks, and we start seeing a bunch of options here. We want to find the one that's Hero UI, and it's alphabetical order. So let's see. If I don't know it off the top of my head, it is in the import section right here. It's Hero UI / React. So I could copy and paste this, or I could type it all the way out. So we're going to go at Hero UI / React. And that's going to make my computer a little bit happier. Still got an error somewhere. I don't know where. Why are we breaking? Did you mean text area? Okay, so let's see if that fixes it. My output is busted. It's not working because it's telling me some client type components. Let's see what we can do here. If we hover over text area, there is a quick fix available. You see that this quick fix button is now blue. If we click on that, it gives us a potential option as to what might fix the text area. Let's see if this does it. Okay. Control S to save. It didn't. At least we didn't fully break this time, but we haven't quite fully fixed it yet. It's also telling us, if we look at the documentation right here, there is, let's see, a lot of the different pieces of code have this use client number right at the top here. Let's look around a little bit more. Look around a little bit more. I don't know if that's exactly going to fix it, but let's try it and find out. That's a big part of this course, and that's a big part of learning these web design concepts, is try it and find out. Okay. So right at the top, I'm going to add use clients in parentheses or in quotation marks. And then I'm going to add a little semicolon at the end here. See if that does anything. Nope, that hasn't quite fixed it, but I can see in my terminal down here that we have a green 200. That means something's loading. Oh, never mind. It stopped loading. Let's change this back to a capital text A area from Hero UI React and see if it wants to work this time. Okay, it really does not want to work for me today. It was working earlier. This is classic web design. Okay, let's try adding a semicolon right here. See if that does anything. Nope, that doesn't do anything. Okay, hang on. Let's do some troubleshooting. So the error code that it says right here is the export text area was not found in modules. Okay, so it needs to be in, we do not mean to import text area. Hold on. Let's go back to our example here. Nope, not that one. This one, and let's see why it's not working here. We've copied and pasted it exactly. We have it filled out right here. We'll figure out these props here in just a second. Why are we not working? What the heck? See if these do anything for us. Okay, that's not helpful. Come on, man. Hang on. So what usually helps me is looking for where it says there's a build error, copying and pasting that into Google, and seeing what Google can walk me through. Instead of AI, which sometimes will get it a little bit inaccurate or doesn't have the full context of what we're trying to do here, let me look around. Look around in Google a little bit by just Googling the context here. Okay. So this result right here, here's another good lesson in troubleshooting, is this result right here gives us a bunch of explanation. We can scroll past a lot of this because it's just copied and pasted here until we start seeing some resolution down here at the bottom. So this guy says, turns out if you forget to add use client, Next.js won't tell you that you can use that use chat needs to be a client. Let's see, fix this to add use client. We tried that. Let's keep looking around here. Okay. I think this is the one I just came from. Let's see. It says that use client would fix it, but it doesn't appear to be. Let's try again. Nope. Okay. So for whatever reason, the components you're trying to mess around with don't quite work, or you're encountering similar obstacles that I'm encountering now, you have that control/shortcut to take everything out of stack order, and then we can find a different one to use as an example. So I've taken the comp with all of its props, commented it out, and the same import and commented it out, just because we might get it working later, but it's not working right now. So let's find a different example, one that's hopefully not broken. Okay, let's do, let's try an alert. Let's see. It's a lot of code for an alert. Maybe I don't want that much. Do we try a form already? No. Still a lot of code. Give me something simple. Tabs. All right. Let's see if tabs wants to work. Okay. There might be an issue that I'll have to figure out later with the specific React folder, but let's try it together. So I'm going to highlight everything inside of its return function here. We go back to VS Code and we paste it in, and let's see how many errors appear. Quite a few, and they're all related to that word tabs, okay? So let's go see if we need to bring in an import. We do. So we're going to grab this one by just clicking the little copy icon, paste it here on line number 6, Control V, Control S, and that does not help us out exactly. Let's see what else is going on. Okay. Okay, that didn't work either. So, give me one that works, please, React. Come on now. Let's go back to all components. All right. So mine was working earlier. It's now not working, obviously, because something's gone wrong. What I'll have you do, let me undo a couple of these so we're back to a functional Magneto image. Let's get rid of our import, get rid of our tab group, save it, and let's see if my page is working once again. Add some text on your A5 with examples why you think your villain, come on, was in the right. Okay, so I'll save that and it'll appear on our output over here. When you are done coding, you can go back into the terminal and go Control C. When it asks you, do you want to terminate? The answer is Y. And then once it is terminated, your site will no longer load. So only do that when you're done, but I wanted to include that real quick while I figure out why this is not working. Yeah, this will be due on Wednesday. We'll have some more time during the block period to get it unbroken as best we can. Okay, so add some text with examples why you think your villain was in the right on your A5 page, and make sure that you are saving.